Hello and welcome back to Strength for Tomorrow Radio. Train today so you can be stronger tomorrow. My name is Stuart Thompson and I am your host. You might have guessed, but I also produce the show, direct the show, edit the show, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. That's a Little Britain reference in case you're wondering what I'm on about and you're of a certain demographic that's too old or too young to know what that is. Last week we had Warren Nugent on the show. He shared a dramatic story from his childhood where he almost died, how he accidentally ran a marathon, as you do. I'm sure a few of our listeners have accidentally done that, as have I. He's also shared his experience of cold water therapy, how he has gotten into that, and holding online Pilates classes and sports massage. This week we're going to think about motivation, self-control and goal setting. I should say as well, if you haven't listened to Warren's interview, you should go back and give it a listen. It is good fun, it is a good laugh. We had a great time recording it, and give that a listen. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube, and it's on Facebook and Instagram TV as well. So motivation, goal setting, self-control, these are all topics that are quite closely linked, and they may not seem like that at first glance, but we're going to look at why and how this is the case. So stick around, put your feet up, get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee on, and enjoy the show. So I should say this show as well, if you hear any heavy breathing or panting in the background, it's not me. I've got the dog in the little office here today as we're recording. So just to put your mind at ease, that's all it is, okay? That's Ted. So first of all, motivation, it's often talked about in the same breath as going to the gym or fitness, exercise. You hear people talking about in January, I'm going to get motivated and start in January. For many of us, motivation, it's what drives us to do tough things each and every week. We rely on this motivation, and we think it's almost impossible to do exercise without motivation. But my question is motivation really that important? Does the success of your fitness and your general health hinge on getting motivated and staying motivated? I'm not so sure, and I'm going to give you a few examples to think about to kind of back up my rationale behind that. What I've noticed is that the most successful clients are they're not the ones who seem highly motivated, but they're the ones that are most disciplined. They discipline themselves in other areas of their lives, and that overflows into their fitness, into their commitment to the gym. So quite often, some of the most successful businessmen in the world, you can apply this to lots of different areas, but the most successful ones tend to be very highly driven, and that overflows in the gym. It means their workouts are intense. It means they're going to focus on their workouts, they're going to get it done, and they're not going to let anything stand in their way. They take that motivation and focus that they have, for success in their line of business, and they apply it to other areas of their lives very, very well. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that someone who, if you're going to be successful in business, that you have to be super fit or a gym rat. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are plenty of businessmen out there who put their attention and their focus into their work, and they never would grace a gym with their presence or would never work out. What I am saying though is that those same people who are highly motivated in their job, in their business, run a successful business, if they were to start training, it's highly likely, I would say, that they are able to transfer that same discipline, that same focus, that same drive into their workouts, into their gym, because it's familiar to them. It's exactly what they do. They do it in another area of life, and they can transfer that into their health and their fitness. So motivation, it might get you started, but unless you learn discipline, it won't last. Unless we start building training into our lifestyle, we'll probably not stick at it long enough to see or feel results and positive changes. Tell me this, how much motivation do you require to brush your teeth every day? How much motivation do you need to wash yourself regularly? So I'm going to guess that it's not very much for either of these. At least I hope it's not. Come on, let's go. We can do the shower. I hope you don't have to give yourself a pep talk in the mirror before you get into the shower each day. But they aren't particularly fun things to do. Getting in the shower or brushing your teeth, they're time consuming, they're monotonous. They have to be done, but they're not something we look forward to at the end of the day. You probably just feel like going to bed rather than having to do those things, but yet we tend to do it more often than not, hopefully. But how come we need motivation to train, but we don't need motivation to wash ourselves or brush our teeth. By the way, if you don't wash yourself or you don't brush your teeth, you might want to keep that to yourself, so you don't have to comment underneath saying, I don't do either of those things, Stuart. It's because we require discipline. That's what is required to brush your teeth and wash yourselves, isn't that right? It's discipline. What are the consequences of not brushing our teeth? Sometimes we'll have that thought if you are questioning why we need to brush our teeth so regularly. The chances of our teeth rotting away are going to greatly increase. You don't need to be a dentist to know that. The chances of us having excruciating pain and the need for a dentist to go tunnelling are heightened. You don't want a dentist going for a wee day trip down into your root canals, do you? It's unnecessary pain, and it's going to be really difficult to chew food in the future with less teeth, and it's also going to make for more socially awkward exchanges without teeth. Smiling's going to be a lot more difficult for photographs, isn't it? So, what are the consequences of not washing ourselves? Well, pretty soon we're going to start to smell, especially in the summertime. We might start to lose some friends. Our family might stick by us a little bit longer, but I would say sooner or later they'll start to disown us. No, I would anyway. Or they might put the hot power hose on me and tie me out the back and give me a good scrub. But it depends how loving your family are, really. You'll probably start to develop some avoidable skin conditions that are painful. Your colleagues might not want to invite you out with them, or they'll maybe be asked to move away from your desk. Your boss is probably going to have an awkward conversation with you sooner or later. So more awkward social situations. You're going to be unlikely to get a promotion as well. They don't want to send a smelly guy, down to have this meeting or to do a bit of networking. Your name might be top of the pile, but that pile will be the smelly pile, unfortunately. So if we think of the consequences of not training, we find it harder to manage our weight every year. We will lose muscle, we will lose strength, our clothes start to get tighter in all the wrong places, and then eventually won't fit. We also greatly increase our risk of all sorts of chronic illnesses like heart disease, diabetes, different cancers, mental diseases and illnesses, aches, pains, loss of mobility, and then independence, etc., etc., etc. We've done a whole show on all of these sorts of things, the consequences of not training. And these are arguably more dire consequences than not washing yourself or brushing your teeth, as dire as those consequences are. Yet for training, we somehow think we need motivation to work out, but not for the other two. Why is this? I really don't know the answer. I would guess that it's because most of us don't like to admit that our discipline is poor, that we have no discipline. Instead, it maybe seems more socially acceptable to say our motivation is low, or we lost our motivation. Somehow it seems more socially acceptable to be obese, to be unhealthy, to be a ticking health time bomb, than it is to not wash yourselves or to not brush your teeth. And that might sound harsh, but I think it is true, isn't it? If you have any objections to that statement, do let me know. The other fascinating thing about motivation, I think, is that we often put the cart before the horse. It's quite an old-fashioned term, but hopefully you understand it. We think we have to wait to get motivated before we can join the gym or before we start a training program. Whereas instead, whenever we start training, we will increase in motivation to train. So I can guarantee if you're waiting for motivation to suddenly hit you in the face, like how long do you wait for? Do you wait end of this year? Do you wait till January and hope it appears? Where does motivation come from? Is it magical? Whereas if you were to start training today, you just did one gym session, something nice and easy, simple, I guarantee that you will be more motivated than before you started this session. So if you're thinking this morning, oh, I can't really be bothered, go and do it, and then see how you're feeling afterwards. I guarantee it, you'll be more motivated than if you were to just sit around waiting for motivation to hit you in the face. Now, I don't want to completely write off the role of motivation and how it can be important for people, especially getting started. So what I would encourage you to do if you are struggling for motivation, I would suggest you get a sheet of paper out and write down, try and describe to yourself what your ideal body will look like. Now, that sounds really sad and really vain, but sometimes just having that in your head visually can help you have something to aim towards. So whenever you do struggle for motivation, if that's something you happen to really rely on, or you're struggling just to get started and you're like, Stuart, I don't believe you, I don't think if starting a workout's going to help me get motivated, just write it down. If you know someone or you see someone who you think, I'd like to be in their sort of shape. Now, this doesn't have to be like, like a fitness model, and just be somebody you like or you respect or could be an athlete, could be whoever. Put that down. The second thing would be, what is your ideal state of health? What is your goal from a health perspective? So we all know exercise can help prevent lots and lots of diseases. So what maybe runs in your family that you want to avoid or you want to mitigate? Write that down in your sheet as well. Write down what you want. Maybe you want more energy. Maybe you want to have less chance of diabetes or less chance of heart disease. Maybe you want to live longer. Maybe you want to be more mobile. You want to create, get more mobility in your hips and be able to play with your kids or your grandkids in the future. Write those things down. And then just write down why you want to achieve those goals, why you want to improve your strength, or why you want to improve how your body looks, or why you want to improve your health. Write those things down as well. So get into details, write as much detail as you need to, but keep it simple if you want to as well. Do it in a few sentences if you can do that. The point of this exercise is you're going to be able to refer back to this sheet. So if you're dreading going to the gym, or you're losing motivation, you're not really that bothered, and maybe the evenings are getting cold and you just want to sit in the house and watch Netflix and you can't be bothered working out, refer back to this sheet. Look at this sheet, look at what you've put down and why you got started in the first place, to kind of give you that kickstart. It's not something silly. Keep it locked away. Keep it somewhere that you can just refer to. This is personal. This is not, no one's going to test you on it or look at it on you and try and embarrass you with this. This is something that you can do and you can always use in future. It can really help you stay motivated. It can help you get back on track if you maybe had a rough Christmas or rough holidays. It can get you excited again for the gym and for training and for eating well again. So moving on then to building habits. I am a big fan and a big believer in habitual change. So not trying to change a million things all at once. I've tried that before. I've tried it with clients before in the early days, and it simply does not work. For very, very few people it might work, but for the vast majority of us it does not work. It's been shown time and time again, and I've been speaking to other trainers, reading more books, doing more research. It's been shown time and time again that the best way to build and establish lasting changes in your health, improving your fitness, improving your nutrition, it's by building in habitual changes. So little things, developing simple habits, not from going on this course or this meal plan or this thing. Those can be great for kickstarting, as we said before, but when it comes to long-lasting changes, you want to be just tweaking little habits here and there, and little habits over time can make a massive difference. At Cross-Functional Fitness, I try to work with my clients to put together strategies that are going to enable them to continue to eat and enjoy eating and drinking the things that they like the most. So whether that's chocolate, whether that is ice cream, whether that is crisps, whether it is bread, whatever it is that you enjoy, I will try and work with you to include that in your nutritional plan, so that you'll still be able to enjoy your food and look forward to your meals and not have to dread having broccoli and rice and chicken every single day, which some people think is a good idea. And it's been shown, I've tested this out like hundreds of times, and it's been shown that whenever this is done with a calorie deficit, you'll still drop inches from your waist and you will improve your body composition. And as I said, if you enjoy eating chocolate, I will do my very, very best to put together a program that allows you to keep chocolate in it. Now, you might not be able to eat 6 bars a day like you previously were. I know it's a shocker, right? But as long as you're in a calorie deficit and you're continuing to eat everything else sort of half normal, you're not eating like a complete child, you're going to be able to achieve that. So this means you'll be able to see positive changes in your body composition. And again, over time, it depends how quickly you want to do it. Some people want quick results, in which case they will opt for broccoli and chicken and rice, and that'll be all they'll kind of think about. Now, they will see changes quicker than the person who keeps certain things in their diet that they enjoy, which are calorific, that taste really good, but it depends how much patience you have as well. So as I said, this approach, it works for most people because if you have a half decent level of self-control and you understand the importance of calorie tracking, then you can get away with it. Whereas if you have terrible self-control and I tell you you're allowed 6 squares of a chocolate bar per day, and next thing the whole bar's gone, this plan is not for you. This approach maybe is not for you. It wouldn't work for me personally, because if I see a chocolate bar there, I'm not going to be able to resist it. I'm going to have to devour the whole thing. Whereas if you told me I could have 1 chocolate bar a week and I saved it to the weekend, I could do that. I'd have to get rid of every piece of junk food in sight if I was going to try and reduce my body fat. I'd have to really lean down and throw everything out of the cupboards to make sure there was nothing that I did not need to be there present. So maybe your self-control, maybe it's something like mine, and you can't just stop at 1 square of chocolate. Some of my clients can. It's really impressive. I think it's really impressive. I really do. I'm a bit like a dog. I have to have the whole bar and then some more. And the same with anything. It's just, again, it's a lack of discipline. It's a lack of self-control. When it comes to training, I can be more disciplined, but whenever it comes to nutrition, not so much. And I think a lot of us do struggle with that. I think it is really important to be honest with yourself and to get to know yourself and to be familiar with your level of self-control. It's really important to kind of recognize your limitations and your faults, and whenever you are trying to change your body, so whether that is to put on weight or to lose weight, to see your blind spots, to try and find those blind spots, ask other people to kind of evaluate. If you're like me and you don't have great self-control, then you need to be really honest with yourself and with your family and with your friends. Quite often, it's your husband, it's your wife, it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend who will contribute to your downfall. They'll be the one that will convince you to go for that little treat every single night. They'll maybe not understand your weakness or that you desperately want to make a change to your habits. They don't realise that they're contributing to your ill health in future. And that sounds dramatic, I know, but that's what it amounts to. It's these little things that build up over time, and a little treat suddenly turns into a big treat. And if you're eating a bar of chocolate every single night and your nutrition is dire the rest of the day, you're not active, you're putting on weight, your jean size is going up, scale weight's going up, your waist just getting bigger and bigger, you might need to sit them down and explain to them that you do not want to die early, you do not want to die prematurely, you don't want to end up with bowel cancer, with heart disease or other horrible illnesses, and you want to minimize your risk of doing so. It's not that cutting out these things is going to prevent this happening indefinitely. That's not what I'm saying. But if they don't believe you or they dismiss your concerns, send them to me. I'd love to have a chat with them, or let them listen to this, because if your significant other has great self-control, if they have amazing self-control and they're able to control what they put in their bodies with more ease than you are, then that is gonna feel really hard for them to understand. Maybe they're in a great moment in their life. Maybe they're at a point where they're low stress and they're able to cope really well, and they've little to think about compared to you. Maybe you're under pressure with work. Maybe you have all sorts of things going on, and I'm not saying that to be mean, but maybe you're just in two different worlds. It's important to recognize this, and it's important that the most important people in your life understand that as well. Instead of them adding pressure of temptation that you're already under, whenever you get stressed, guess what? You don't opt for the most healthy thing, do you? You opt for the least healthy thing, probably. You're going to opt for the most calorific, sweetest, most carby, most satisfying thing you can find, and it's probably not going to be the best thing for your health or for your body. And if you're perpetually under stress and you get into that habit, guess what? 6 months later, you've put on a couple of stone. So they should instead help you in every way they can to bring you along with them. And if that means them having to hide their snacks from you, or they're having to cut things out to help you, maybe that's what needs to be done. That's what a friendship, a marriage, or whatever, a relationship, maybe that's what needs to be done sometimes to help you. Two is better than one, as the saying goes, and if two people are on the same page, on the same wavelength, it's going to be much, much easier, isn't it? I'll give you an example. Are you killing yourself in a respectable way? Now, again, that sounds like a dramatic statement, and I don't mean to downplay certain issues that are prevalent in society today, but if you're the sort of person who can easily finish an entire packet of biscuits, or eat a full tub of ice cream every night, or multiple packs of chocolate, bars of chocolate, I'm just going to be polite, but I'm going to make a strong suggestion. Don't have them in your house, okay? Don't have them in your house all week. If you have junk food in your cupboards, there is a 99.9% chance that you or someone else in your house will end up consuming it. The 1% is a chance that it will go out of date. That's very, very slim. Someone in the house is going to eat it. So if it's in your house, guess what? It's going to be eaten. Usually it's in a moment of severe hunger, so you come home from work and you don't know what you're going to eat. There's no dinner and you're starving, and you just grab junk food. It could be boredom. Maybe you're sitting watching Netflix and you're bored. It could be stress. It could be anxiety. It could be weakness. Maybe you just feel, like you need a wee lift. Maybe you feel stressed with work. Maybe you feel stressed with the kids, with whatever's going on. Maybe you're just anxious. Maybe you're this crazy world, everything that's going on right now. First, another thing would be turn off the news. Turn off the news. Turn off your notifications about the news on your phone. Turn off the radio. Don't listen to Stephen Nolan. Don't listen to BBC News. Don't listen to ITV News. It's nothing but bad news. And it will add to your stress, it'll add to your anxiety, and before you know it, you'll be in the cupboard snacking on junk. So, that little rant out of the way. It's usually at these times that junk food, it's most appealing to you, because number one, they're convenient. You open the pack, it's there. You don't have to cook it, you don't have to heat it, throw it down the throat. Simple as that. Number two, they taste amazing. There's no denying that. They do taste amazing. They're designed to taste amazing. They're designed to taste like more. They're designed to keep you addicted and to keep you feeding yourself on them. And number three, they fill a void for a while. They'll make you feel more satisfied for the next 30 minutes or an hour. And then you're going to have a huge amount of calories in your stomach, and you're going to be hungry again because there's no fibre and there's generally no protein in junk foods. Those are the reasons that you don't feel that satisfied for very long afterwards. But I already said, it's really important to be honest with yourself. Your lifestyle and lack of self-control, it's slowly and surely killing you, and it's reducing your quality of life substantially. Is that the case? You can tell me. I don't know you personally who are listening to this, but you need to take this seriously. If you have one takeaway meal once per month, that's not the worst thing in the world. In fact, that's pretty good, I would say. That's about, one meal in 90, I would say. So that's not too bad. That isn't too much, but if you were to have 3 takeaways every week, then that's a much bigger problem. That is a much, much bigger problem. Some takeaways contain as much as 2 days worth of calories, never mind the crazy amounts of salt, sugar, and then the saturated fats as well. So maybe takeaways, maybe that's something you need to look at in your lifestyle. I'm not saying don't eat takeaways. I'm saying maybe you need to curb them, maybe you need to reduce them a little bit. And what about alcohol intake at weekends? Most people, I would say, don't drink that much. I've come across anyway, and my clients, a lot of them drink occasionally, maybe weekends, and then maybe a special occasion. But what about that packet of crisps or that packet of biscuits you're having every evening after dinner? What about the crisps you're eating after lunch every day? What about that chocolate bar? What about that ice cream? What about that cake? There's 31 days in every single month, isn't that right? And this is what is doing the real damage. It's the consistency of bad habits. It's consistency that is dramatically it's increasing your risk of heart disease, heart attacks, various cancers, diabetes, strokes, joint damage, and other preventable illnesses. It's that consistency. It's not that one dessert you had once a month on a Sunday at your granny's. That's not what's putting on the calories. You can't blame that. It's what's happening Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the weekends. Maybe you went well Monday to Friday. What about the weekends? How did you get on then? So how do you change your habits successfully? How do you start implementing that today? Number one, I'd say sit down and evaluate what sort of personality you have. Do you have self-control? And, do you just need to start counting calories and managing your portions better? Or does your self-control suck, a bit like mine, and you need to go cold turkey? You need to cut out all the junk and get them out of your cupboards, get them out of your car, get them out of your handbag, whatever you have. You know better than I do, but you maybe need to sit down and evaluate your own personality, your own lifestyle, and see where the holes are, see what's doing the damage. Ask friends, ask family, ask those who know you best if you're struggling to find that thing. Number two, just take the stairs every time you can instead of the lift or the escalator. I know I've heard this over and over again, but it really is so effective. Our total movement has decreased so much today compared to previous generations, and that is one of the contributing factors to why we're so obese. We're just sitting in the car. We try and get the closest parking space. We never ever want to exert ourselves any more than we absolutely have to. But in everyday things, just try and burn a little bit more energy. And aside from the gym, that's the best way to do it. You're going to burn more calories outside of the gym than inside the gym anyway. So little simple habits just to get more movement, more activity in. Schedule walking into your daily and weekly activity. So try and get a quick walk in every day, or try and schedule a couple of big long walks in every week. Try and program that in. Walking is the most basic thing you can do, and you should make the use of it. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be particularly strenuous. It doesn't have to particularly get your heart rate up, but just that movement and that stepping is going to really help. Number 4, rather than meeting friends for coffee, how about suggesting going for a walk or a hike, or doing something a little bit more active, playing squash, playing golf, playing tennis, something that's going to get your heart rate up a little bit more, something that's going to get you moving and using your joints, using your limbs. What about bowling? Anything. Try and think of something that's not going to involve intake of calories. Try and think of export of calories. Try and think of using your calories. Number 5, instead of sitting down in front of the TV or Netflix at night, get outside, go for a cycle, go for a walk, go for a swim, go for a hike. Again, do something active, and it'll do wonders not just for your body but also for your mind, for your attitude, and for your motivation, for your self-control. And before you know it, these little habits will take a hold of your lifestyle, and you'll do them unconsciously and without reservation. You'll not have to program it in. They'll just be part of what you do. Again, habits are really, really key in changing your lifestyle for good. Not just going on this 12-week program or this 6-week meal plan. Habits are what will get you further and will do you more good long term. So we're going to think about some of the reasons why diet promises keep failing for you. If you are trying to lose weight or get in shape or just tone up, whatever it is, and you keep failing, we're going to try and highlight some of the reasons behind that. Now, this was a blog post I did a couple of years back, and it's still relevant today. It's still really, really important, and it ties in very nicely with what we're talking about today. So we've all heard it and maybe even done it ourselves, but you know, your friend Sue from work, she'll maybe announce for the 23rd time that she is going on a diet. And she's determined, she really believes it herself each and every time, but she keeps failing. She keeps falling down. She doesn't able to keep going at it, and she never really gets too far in it. So there's 4 main reasons that I can see that this keeps happening to people, and why, you know, you're really sincere in the promises that you make with regards to nutrition, but you can't really make it stick. You can't see those changes through for good that will last. So one of them is you try to change too much too fast. You know, we all know about this one. You try to completely transform your nutrition as well as your taste buds. You try to eat disgusting things that you've never liked, thinking that, yeah, this is going to be the way I'm going to get in shape. We all have our preferences in food, and we all have tastes that we love, and that's part of what makes us unique as humans, what makes us special. So whenever we try and force ourselves to like all the foods that other people are telling you should like personal trainers or nutritionists or whoever, it usually ends up going one way, and that is downhill, that is south. There are some people, and this strategy works well for them, because maybe they had coronavirus and that they can't taste anyway. But in fact, they actually need this approach, some people, in order to succeed. They need to be told exactly what to eat, how much of it to eat, and they're not really that bothered about flavour, about taste, or any of those things. But for most of us, it will lead us to giving up altogether and going back to eating whatever and however we want it in the first place. Number 2 is quite similar. You restrict yourself too much and then you eventually crack. So a lot of people will restrict themselves from Monday through to Friday, and it's a bit like the first ones I said, but it's even more restrictive. So someone's plan will usually be breakfast, chicken and broccoli, lunch, chicken and broccoli, dinner, chicken and broccoli, snacks, just water. Now, scientifically, this one can help you get slimmer, because you're probably going to be at a calorie deficit, because you're not going to be able to get enough calories from your broccoli or your chicken to actually, see you through and to make sure that you will get enough to put you over the limit. But you won't probably last that long on it because it's pretty disgusting, to be perfectly honest. Um, it isn't that healthy either because although you're getting chicken, okay, you're getting your protein, getting broccoli, getting a bit of fiber, you're getting plenty of water, great, but you're not getting very many vitamins or minerals. You're not getting much of a balance. So from a humanitarian perspective, you will be bored out of your skull from a psychological perspective, and you'll also probably start to hate life, and you'll start to hate eating in general. So that one is a non-starter. If you know someone who has been on this diet for longer than 3 months, I'd probably avoid them if I was you, because they're probably not going to be much crack, and they're probably not going to be great fun at a Christmas office party. That's just some friendly advice on my part. But this approach, it usually ends in really, really catastrophic failure and leaves the person having a really tarnished and damaged relationship with food, and they're probably going to start binging on crisp pizza, chips, Coca-Cola, and avoiding exercise altogether because they're just going to have such a backlash to such a restrictive lifestyle. So don't restrict yourself too much. Third reason is you haven't made it a priority. So one of our well-intentioned and well-intended promises, that we just probably haven't really fully committed to the change that we want to make. Now, we might have told ourselves, we might have told other people that we have, but we haven't taken it seriously enough to actually initiate a meaningful change. So you disconnect yourself from the reality that foods that you consume contain calories and they all add up. So whenever you're fueling your body with food, you don't truly believe that every food choice and every bite is filling up your designated calorie bank for that day. So you still continue to kind of have whatever you want without really paying too much attention to it. You're maybe hitting the gym really hard and you're taking the exercise 100% seriously, but you're probably mistakenly thinking that the exercise is burning off those extra calories, and it's not. If you're in a calorie surplus, if you've already eaten too many calories and you are overweight, you need to eat less calories. So you don't need to rely on the exercise burning off the calories. You need to be in a surplus from your nutrition. The exercise is going to help you to do that, but it's not something you should rely upon. There's lots of benefits from exercise. Burning calories just happens to be one of the byproducts. It's not the main thing though. So you're kidding yourself. So I'm just going to say it. You're kidding yourself. Without restricting your calories to some extent, it's almost impossible to get slimmer. So I don't care how much exercise you do. Maybe you're a marathon runner and you're running a marathon every day. You're hiking up to Everest Base Camp every day. But unless you're doing that, you're probably not going to burn enough calories to get yourself into a calorie deficit. The fourth one is the one we've touched upon already. It's having zero willpower. Absolutely no willpower. Like we said, if you have a large bar of chocolate and maybe your friend can make it last for a week or two and you can't make it even last an hour, that if that's you, then that's a problem. And if you're always going to be counting on your strong willpower, you're going to be in trouble. So if you have those snacks in your cupboard, like we said earlier, if you're relying on your non-existent willpower, you're not going to get too far, are you? So the fact is, most of us eat useless, empty, high calorie, tasty foods whenever we're tired, stressed, or bored. So it's at these times where willpower is especially low. So if you have zero to start with, you're probably -10 then whenever you're under those sort of stresses and pressures. So how do we get around this? I simply don't buy bad snacks in the first place. If it's in my cupboard, I'm going to eat it. I think I've said that before. If it's not, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to be so stressed, bored, or tired that I'm going to get in the car and drive down to the shop just to buy some crap food. Maybe you have more commitment to getting crap food than I do, but that works for me. I will save it for special occasions. I'll save it one thing for a weekend, but that's what works for me if I have a lack of self-control and I know that. Now, I might prepare for such events by, installing some low-calorie snacks in my house, so whenever cravings start, then, we can start to at least provide some sort of decent nutrition. So have something that's going to be high protein, or have something that's not going to push my calories up too high. Something's going to benefit me in my training, rather than just mindless tasty calories for the sake of it because I'm bored or stressed or whatever. Even better, you can learn to recognize your triggers and then have a plan to overcome it with something more healthy, a habit that is superior. So whenever you feel the stress, go for a run, go for a strength training session, do some boxing, do whatever it is. Maybe top up your water intake if you feel like you're really hungry. start drinking more water. That's usually a sign of dehydration first and foremost. Maybe go and brush your teeth. That's another one I've heard. People have used that as a bit of a psychological trick, or just using it as a reminder to go for a walk, or to, some sort of quick workout. If you're feeling stressed, sometimes a walk out in nature can really help calm your mind and transform your perception and your attitude towards things. So we all make promises to ourselves that, we're never going to eat this again, or we're never going to do that again, or we'll be good. I hate that phrase, after this weekend. But then we all fail, don't we? We're all liars. We all make big promises, and we base it around our nutrition. Whenever we do that, it can be a dangerous game, and it's one that can ingrain feelings of guilt and shame and sadness and regret, and we almost feel a bit like we've let our family down, our friends down, or those who we told we were going to do this or that thing. So we don't want to associate that with food, because food is something we have to consume every day. It's not like you're smoking cigarettes and you're giving them up for good. It's not like you're doing hard drugs and you're saying you're going to give them up for good, which you can, probably should. Food is something you have to consume every day in whatever portions you decide. So my advice is really, really simple. I like to keep things simple because I'm quite a simple person. But number one, be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were healthier, slimmer, fitter, stronger bodies. It does take time. It takes a lot longer than a lot of dishonest Instagram influencers would maybe have you believe. Everybody's got a different starting point, and everybody's changes are different, and they'll be personal, and none more so than when it comes to nutrition, because you are going to have a lot more data points than certain things like training. You can probably predict more accurately how your progress is going to go with training than nutrition wise. So with regards to slimming your waist or weight loss and things like that. Number two, work on just one or two habits at a time, and don't think you're Superman or Superwoman. If you're in a condition where you're overweight, and you've gotten yourself into that condition, what makes you think that you have the willpower of an Olympic class athlete? Like, it might sound like, again, to the point, but why would we think that if we're not in good shape, why would we think we've somehow got amazing, robust willpower and discipline and all those things? Why would we think we can change the world all in one go and, tone down like a Ricky Hatton or like a fighter, go from like 15 stone to about 9 stone in a 12-week camp? They're doing that for a living. They're also doing it professionally. They're doing it with people around them for 12-week camp in a lovely country, probably. We're in probably a rainy country if you're listening to this in Ireland or Northern Europe. Research has shown it takes habits anywhere from 3 days to 3 years to develop. And I'd recommend that you stick to applying one or two of those habits at a time for at least 3 weeks before tackling something else. So try and keep something on top of it consistently, nail it down, ingrain it in your habit, and then in your habits, and then you'll be able to move on, do something else, and tackle some other little area rather than trying to change the world and change your whole diet and change your whole lifestyle. Try and pick one or two things that you think are problematic, the most problematic things, and then go from there. You're only human. You only have, you've got a life to live, and enjoy the fact that you're not a robot, that you're not being programmed or controlled by Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, and accept that you can't successfully change every single bad habit that you've developed over the last 10 or 20 years instantly. That's not how it works. If you've ingrained bad habits for 20 years, do you think you're going to change it this weekend? Not going to happen. So no one should expect this to happen either. It's really, really, it's irresponsible, and it's a complete fairy tale to think that can happen that quickly. It takes time. So give yourself time. Work on one or two habits. Next one is number 3, set yourself some physical performance goals that your nutrition changes will help you to achieve. So for example, if you're trying to put on muscle, guess what? You're going to have to eat more protein. Yep. You're going to have to eat the right calories. You're going to have to eat the right amount of carbohydrates and fats. You're going to have to start thinking about your nutrition a little bit closer. After a while, you can get quite far without having to think about those things too much. But after a while, those details are going to become more and more important. And I don't mean, run the marathon. You can run a marathon if you want to. It's up to you. But what I mean is your weight and your strength can impact how your body performs. If you are too heavy, then running a mile or two is going to be a torture. It's going to be so much more difficult for you if you are 16 stone and 40% body fat than if you trim down to maybe 12 stone and you were 15% body fat. You get what I mean? So if you're overweight and you haven't been exercising, then there's a really slim chance you're going to be able to do a pull-up. Pull-up requires you lifting your own body weight, and as your waist gets slimmer, as your weight goes down, performing a pull-up just becomes that much easier. You're having to pull less weight on the bar. So that's another one. How about doing 10 push-ups? Can you do 10 push-ups? This requires strength. Yes, it'll require training. It'll require building strength, building a little bit of muscle. But nutrition will have an impact on how successful you are at them. If you are overweight and you're going to struggle with them more than if you are at the correct weight or you're at a more appropriate weight. And this is because you need the right balance between body weight and muscle strength. We've said it before numerous times, but number 4, admit and accept the fact that your willpower sucks, and then take appropriate steps to stop you having to rely on it. So we discussed this already at length, but if your willpower is awful, like mine, simply don't have the junk food in the house. Save them for a special occasion, or limit yourself to once a week or once a month, whatever you can manage. Save it for a time when you can enjoy it, rather than having it part of your lifestyle. Try and don't cut it out entirely, but try and save it for a special occasion and enjoy it. Don't feel guilty about it. Number 5, get support. Support is vital. So as we said before, getting your friends, your family, getting your husband, your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, get their support and get them on board, because it will become 10 times more difficult to change your unhealthy habits if they're not on board, if they're not helping you out. And maybe they struggle to see the issue, or maybe they don't see why you need the change or why you would want the change. Have a chat with them, or maybe they just don't love you and they want you to die young from really horrible diseases like heart disease, diabetes. I don't know, I'm just guessing here, but that's for you to decide. You have a chat with them. I'm joking, of course, but in all seriousness, you may need to have a serious conversation with them, and this might help them to help you in your quest. So explain to them just how amazing it will make you feel to have control over your cravings, and to be able to say no to certain foods you don't need, and then just how amazing, how good your body will feel, and as the excess body fat drops off, how that's going to make you feel, and how it's going to improve your confidence and your mood and just your all-around lifestyle. Maybe join an exercise class, join a team or a group or something that helps you achieve your nutritional changes in a healthy way. And that doesn't include Slimming World or Weight Watchers, by the way. I'm not certifying them or encouraging you to join them. They only cement unhealthy eating habits, and it'll help you develop an unhealthy relationship with the scales. So if that's what you want to do, by all means join them. But if not, I wouldn't advise it. And you can send your complaints to info@crossfunctionalfitness.co.uk. But also, if you're in the Mourne area, I don't really plug this very often because this is just a bit of fun, is to get some good information out to you. But this is a shameless plug here. But there's personal training. We have a personal training facility here in Warren Point and also in Drumore, and you can apply for online coaching as well, just for extra support, extra accountability. Just having someone in your corner, having someone who believes in you, knows what your body's capable of and knows what you're capable of, and wants to see you reach your goals. That can be a really, really important and life-changing decision to make. So if you want to have a chat, give us a call, give us a message, send us an email. We'll do it on your terms, but have a chat with us and see what you think. If there's anything you would like me to talk about further, do send me a question if there's more information, and I will get back to you. Hopefully this is going to be helpful for you, and it's going to help you succeed in making the changes you need to. And yeah, hopefully in the future you're going to be able to look back on this and realize that this was an important moment, because that would really make this podcast worthwhile for me if someone down the line said that this was really helpful for them. Going to finish off chatting about goals and goal setting. Now, a lot of people shy away from goals. It's the hardest part for me as a trainer, trying to get people to set themselves goals rather than me setting them goals, because people do not like failure. We don't like to fail, do we? So we don't want to put something down on paper that perhaps we're not going to do it. If we write it down and we say we're going to do it, there's a lot of pressure on us then to do it, isn't there? There's a lot of expectation on us. So a lot of people shy away from that, but all it is a feedback loop. If you set yourself a goal and you set yourself a specific goal, a measurable goal, one that you can say, I want to do this by this stage, then if you aren't able to do that, all we know is a couple of things. One, maybe you set the goal too big, maybe you set the goal too soon, maybe you just hadn't done what you needed to do to get there. Maybe it was a realistic goal, but it wasn't executed properly. So there's all sorts of feedback you can get from setting goals and failing to reach them, or reaching them successfully. So yes, set specific goals, make it really specific. Instead of saying I want to lose weight and writing that down, how much weight and by when. Instead of saying I want to build strength, how much strength and by when. Put a date on it, put some metrics on it, have a chat with someone who maybe knows a little bit more than you about it and see, is it a realistic goal? Start with a goal in the first month. I want to hit the gym 12 times before the end of the month. That's a goal, that's a realistic goal, and that's an achievable goal. It might seem really basic to some people, but it's a goal, and it's one you can tick the box and say, brilliant, I did it. That can be a start. That can be a starting point for you. The other thing is set a big goal as well. So set something short term, set something in the first month, set something way off in the distance as well, something you want to be able to build yourself up towards. So say your deadlift currently is 50 kilos and it feels really heavy, and in the back of your head you're thinking, I'm never going to be able to lift that much. Have a dreaming goal. What I mean by that is, if you're deadlifting 50 kilos and you weigh, 100 kilos, think to yourself, I would love to be able to deadlift twice my body weight, and build it up towards that. You know how you build it up? You do it gradually. You do it about 2 or 2.5 kilos every single time, and you will get very close to it, as well as doing other things as well. But it's gradual. It takes time. It takes patience. And set yourself deadlines. Don't just have it way off in the distance, and whenever the time you're dead, or 50. Have a steadfast kind of timeline you can stick to, and see if you're getting closer to it, or if you're not getting closer to it, maybe you need to adjust the timeline, maybe you need to adjust the goal slightly, but have a goal that you can dream about, that you can think about and work your way towards. Having short and long-term goals is really, really helpful, because it lets you see a path of progress. It lets you know if you're getting closer or you're going further away. Same thing with, you're going to run a marathon, or you're going to run a half marathon, or you're going to try and improve your body composition, whatever it is. Try and set performance goals where possible, I would suggest, rather than aesthetic goals only. Performance goals tend to be much healthier, and they lead to healthier habits based around that, because if you're going to perform well, whether it's running, whether it's cycling, whether it's sprinting, whether it's weightlifting, whatever it is, you're going to have to sleep well, you're going to have to eat well, and you're going to have to train well to make those happen. Whereas if you set yourself a goal like, I want to lose X amount of weight by 1 month's time, you could just start starving yourself the last month. You'd be binging for 3 weeks and then starve yourself the last week to try to hit that target, which is not a healthy lifestyle, let me stress. So try and make sure your goals don't conflict with each other as well. If you've got a couple of goals, try and make sure that you prioritize. Make sure that, if you're going to say that I want to build fat, but I also want to burn muscle. Now, if you've been training for 6 years, the chances of you achieving that are very, very, very slim. You're going to have to prioritize one or the other probably to make that happen. The other thing is, try and think about the reasons behind why you want to achieve those goals. So get to the point, really. Don't beat around the bush. Try and make sure that you're actually honing in on the reasons why you want to achieve a certain goal, and don't fake it. Don't kid yourself. If it's for a vain reason, just say it. If it's to get more girls, just say it. If it's to get on the rugby team, just say it. If it is to be able to play with your kids because your mobility's improved, that's a great goal. That's another one. Whatever it is, just own it. Don't shy away from it. Just get to the heart of it. And maybe whenever you do get to the heart of it, maybe you realise, that's a bit of a silly goal actually. I shouldn't really be aiming for that because it's a really dumb goal. Then you might need that could be a kind of light bulb moment for you, and you might think that I need to change my goals here. I need to do something more substantial. I need to think of something more with substance to it. So write out your goals, and try and approach them with complete trust in the process, complete trust in how you're going to execute it, and don't do it with I'm probably going to fail mentality. Because see, if you approach it with that attitude, you're probably going to fail. Just throwing it out there, but it's true. So yeah, try and set yourself some realistic goals, some measurable goals, achievable goals, and specific goals, goals that you can really write about to the point, to a T, and you know you're going to hit them or not. And whenever that timeline comes up or passes, you'll know if you've got it or not.
Thank you for your attention.
Are you ready for this week's joke of the week? Warren brought last week's joke. I didn't find it particularly funny. I think it was more of a pity laugh. I'm sorry, Warren. I listened to it again and it really wasn't that good. This one this week, however, is fantastic. So here we go. A man tells his doctor, "Doc, help me. I'm addicted to Twitter." The doctor replies, "Sorry, I don't follow you." That's it. That's the joke over. So yeah, send your complaints in to info@crossfitness.co.uk. If you've got any better jokes, do share them.
Ha 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 ha.
So it's time to wrap it up. That's the end of another show, another week. It's coming towards the end of the summer. It's very sad, isn't it? I hope you've enjoyed this show. Motivation, self-control and goal setting. Hope that has clarified some of the issues around this and the role of motivation, the role of discipline, the role of self-control, and how to set appropriate goals for yourself. Join us again next time, and don't forget to train today so you can be stronger tomorrow.